This is Knight Evans. We're moving in on target. Definite signs of Enclave activity. Target spotted. Engaging now. Evans out.
Hello and thanks for joining me for my second episode of Side Stories. This is going to be a bust-up between the Brotherhood of Steel and the Enclave, where we may just have an unexpected guest along the way. Players today we have two knights in T45 power armour. One is carrying a penetrating laser pistol and a power fist, and the second is carrying a minigun. Joining them we have three Brotherhood of Steel initiates, all wearing recon armour and carrying laser rifles. Up against them for the Enclave, we have three Trooper Scouts, all wearing Enclave Scout armour. First one carrying a combat rifle, second a submachine gun, and the third is carrying a 10mm pistol and a Ripper. With them we have two armoured trainees, again in Scout armour. The first has a laser pistol and Ripper, and the second with a sniper rifle, and just a standard trainee, again in Scout armour. He's got a laser rifle and a Ripper. The board for this match is a 2x2, most of it's going to be a scrapyard. The Enclave objective for this is to get to the Deathclaw nest, secure an egg, and escape off the bottom of the board. Brotherhood of Steel are just there to stop them. So let's get started with round one. To start off, initiate number 1 is going to take a move up the field and then take a long distance pot shot at the Enclave. So hitting on 5s, that's an armor break, so that's 2 damage straight through. Enclave's turn. This guy is going to take a couple of moves into behind cover, behind that junk pile there. Next up, we're going to move the Knight. He's going to take a single move up the board, and then take a shot at the same guy as before. So that's a crit with an armor break, because he's only got 1 energy resistance armor. That's 1 dead guy. Up next, the Enclave. We're going to have the Trooper on top of the storage container there, taking a couple of shots at the Knight. So he's within long distance. So he's hitting on 6s for this. That's a hit with 2 extra damage there, so that's 4 damage against 2 plus 1 armor. And he blocks 3, takes 1 damage. Second shot is a miss. Up next for the Brotherhood of Steel, the second Knight's going to take a couple of stomps up the board there. Back over to the Enclave. That trainee with the laser rifle is going to take a single move, and then he's going to take a shot into the Knight. And that's a miss. So we've got the second Brotherhood of Steel initiate. He's going to take a couple of moves into cover behind the entrance there. Up next, Scout with a combat rifle. He's going to take 2 shots into the Knight. So first roll is a miss. Second shot, that's a hit, 2 armor break, so he's just got his 1 strong armor resistance, so he takes 1 damage. So we've got our final initiate for the Brotherhood of Steel. He's going to take 2 moves, and he's going to move into cover behind the other entrance post there. Up next for the Enclave, we have the Scout with the machine gun. Scout with the machine gun, first attack. That's a crit with 3 damage, and he blocks all of it. Second attack, that's a hit, 2 plus 1 damage. And he takes the 2. Scout with a 10mm pistol, his first attack. That's a crit with 3 damage. Blocks 1, takes 2. And his second attack, that's a miss there. Up first for the Brotherhood of Steel, we've got the Knight with a minigun. He's going to take 5 shots into the Enclave there. So first shot, and that's a crit. So that's 1 damage against 2 armor. Fluffs it, so he takes the 1 damage. Next shot, that's also a hit with an extra damage there, so it's 2 damage against 2 armor. Rolls a 1, so he manages to block 1 and take 1. Third shot, that's a quick action with an armor break, so it is 1 damage against 1 armor, and he blocks it. Fourth shot, he has a miss there. Fifth shot, that's a hit with an additional damage, so that's 2 damage against 2 armor, and he takes the 2 damage. So that's our Knight with the minigun, just taking out the first of the scouts there. Up next, we're going to have the second scout. He's going to take a couple of moves to try and secure that Deathclaw egg there. Then we're going to take our Knight with his penetrating laser pistol. He's going to move into position there and take a shot upfield at the guy with the laser rifle. And that's a miss. Next, we're going to have the Enclave trainee take 2 shots at our Knight in power armor there. So, first shot, that's a hit. Manages to block 1, so that's 1 goes through. Second, that's a crit with 2 plus 1. And his armor blocks 1 of those. So our initiate here is going to take 2 shots into the Enclave scout at the top of the field there with his laser rifle. Let's see how he gets on there. So first shot, that's a miss. And for second one, that's also a miss. And we're going to have our scout at the top there with his machine gun. He's going to take a couple of shots into that Knight there. So the first shot, that's a crit with an armor break. It's actually 3 damage into 1 plus 1 armor. So manages to block the 1, takes 2. And the second shot is a miss. And to finish off the round, we're going to have our next initiate. He's going to take a single move. and then he's going to take a shot. And that's a miss. So the top of round 3, we've got Deathclaw paying a visit to the table, coming to see who's going after their egg. So the Deathclaw, he's going to get a single move, so he's moving in position against the closest guy there, which just happens to be that poor little initiate. It's just not his day. Missing all his shots. Now he's got a Deathclaw breathing down his neck. So we're going to take the Enclave Scout. Because he's got the egg there, he's going to take a move down the board. And he's going to attempt to jump over that fence to try and escape. And he's completely fluffed it. Up next, the Knight's going to take 2 shots at the Scout with his penetrating laser pistol. So first shot, that's a hit. All that damage goes through, so that's 2 damage. Second attack is also a hit, so that's 2 damage against 1 armor. And that's 1 dead Scout there. Up next, our last remaining Scout's going to take a dash across the board. He's going to secure that Deathclaw egg, see if he can do any better at scaling that fence than his friend did. Up next, we've got the Minigun Knight. He's going to take some shots into that sniper guy. So, first shot, that's a hit. 1 damage against 2 armor. And he blocks it. Second shot, that's also a hit. 1 damage against 2 armor. And the 1 damage goes through. There's third attack. That's 2 damage against 2 armor. That all goes through. Fourth attack. That's a miss. And 5th attack. That's also a miss there. So our trainee with the sniper rifle is going to return the favour on that knight there. Shot number 1. That's a hit for 2 damage. And he blocks 1, takes 1. Second shot. That's a crit with an armor break. And he takes 2 damage there. Up next, our initiate can feel this guy breathing down his neck, so he's going to turn round and face off against the Deathclaw. So that's 2 attacks, hitting on 3s because he's in close combat and he doesn't have anything but his laser rifle. That's a miss. And that's also a miss. We're going to move this other initiate in to the Deathclaw. The -2 close combat's going to be negated because they're actually outnumbering the figure. So that's 1 move, gets 1 attack. So that's a hit. Deathclaw's got 2+1 strong armor. And he takes 1 damage. I think our third initiate, seeing what the other 2 are up to, is going to join the fight there. So it's 1 move into combat. He gets a single attack as well. And he's missed. To end this round, we're going to have the Deathclaw. he's going to take a swipe at the guy in the middle. So that's a hit with a stun. That's 2 damage against 2 armor. And that guy takes 2 damage. Second attack, same guy. He's got hit with an armor break and a push. So that's 2 damage against 2 armor. And he blocks all the damage, but he's still going to get pushed an inch back again. And remember, he's still got that stun from the first attack. So before he can do anything next round, he's going to have to shake off that stun, use an action to do that. So top of the round, the scout's going to attempt to climb over this fence and see if he can move away where his friend failed. So he's got an agility of 7, and he's rolled a crit. So he's going to successfully climb over that fence. And then he's going to take a single move of red to get close to that bottom board edge so he can escape. Up next, I think I'm going to take the initiate who was shoved away. Like I said, he's going to use his first action to clear that stun. Second action, he's going to take a shot at the trooper scout there. So that's a crit. That is 2 damage against 1 armor. Doesn't block any of it and takes 2 damage. Up next, we've got the sniper. He's going to take some more shots against that knight there. So, first shot. That's a miss. Second shot. That's a hit. So that's 2 + 1 strong armor there. So it blocks 1, takes 1. So we're going to have this knight. He's going to take a walk in and move into the Deathclaw there. He's going to try bonking him on the head with his minigun. And absolutely no damage there. Because they outnumber the Deathclaw, the initiate can move out freely without having an opportunity attack on him. And he's going to take a shot at the Trooper Scout there. And that sadly is a miss. So, Trooper at the top of the board here, he's going to take 2 shots into the knight there. First shot. That's a miss. Second shot. We have a crit with 3 damage, and he's actually going to set this knight on fire. So the knight blocks 2, takes 1, and he's on fire now. So there's nobody who'll really be able to get into position, I think, to stop this scout, so I'm going to move him off the bottom of the board there. And that, despite being almost completely wiped out, is a victory for the Enclave.
Package secured, returning to base.
Mission failed. The Enclave got what they came for. Knight Evans requesting vertibird pickup.
Do you think we'll run into them again?
I sure hope so. Next time we'll be victorious.
This is Specialist Hayes. I have the Securitron in view, moving in to download data.
Wait, Brotherhood Patrol.
This is Knight Evans. We've reached the junction and spot the downed Securitron. No sign of the Enclave yet. Wait, they're approaching from the northwest, moving to engage. Evans out.
Welcome to another episode of Fallout Wasteland Warfare Side Stories. This is going to feature the Enclave and the Brotherhood of Steel again. So the Brotherhood of Steel are going to enter from the bottom corner there. Enclave are going to come in from the opposite top corner, and then objective is a down Securitron in the middle of the map. So let's get started then. So I'm going to kick off round 1 with a move for the Enclave. The warrant officer is going to take 2 moves into behind that shipping container there. Up next to the Brotherhood of Steel, Evans is going to take 2 moves across the map, try and get in behind some cover. One of the soldiers up next, he's going to take 2 moves down to beside that shipping container at the front of the screen. The other knight's going to take 2 moves up into the middle of the board to try and secure the objective. Our second soldier is again going to take a single move and a single shot into the knight. So that's a hit, and he blocks all the damage. Up next, the first initiate, he's going to take a single move and then a shot into the soldier beside the shipping container. That's long distance. That is a crit with an armor break. The bottle ignores 1 damage, so he takes 1. Up next, our scientist, he's just going to take a couple of moves down, tuck in behind the warrant officer at the shipping container. Then all that's left is our next 2 initiates. First one, going to take a move and a shot into that guy beside the shipping container. So that's a crit, and he blocks all the damage. And finally, last initiate, he's also going to take a move up and a shot into the same guy again. That's a hit with 2 armor break, so he takes 1 damage. So for round 2, just a bit of fluff for the event card. We'll start with the Enclave again. So the soldier, he's going to take 2 shots into the knight. First roll is a miss. Second, that's 4 damage. He manages to block 3, takes 1. The knight's going to return the favours, shooting 5 times with his minigun into the soldier. First shot's a miss. Second shot's also a miss. Third shot's a hit, and he blocks damage. Fourth shot's a miss, and the 5th shot's also a miss. The warrant officer is going to take a couple of shots into the same guy. First roll's a miss. Second is a miss with a quick action, so they're going to take a move in to hopefully tie up that knight in the middle of the board, stop him shooting anybody else. Up next, Evan's going to take a couple of shots into that soldier standing beside the shipping container. That's a miss. And that's also a miss. The other soldier is going to take 2 shots into Evans, hitting on 5s because he's behind cover. First a hit with the 1 armor break and blocks it all. Second shot's a miss. Back over to our initiates, they're going to take 2 shots into the soldier. First shot's a hit with an armor break, takes 1 damage. Second shot's a miss. The scientist is going to take a move into the Securitron and attempt to hack it. And that's a success, so he needs to spend the next turn, unless he rolls a successful hack again, downloading the information. Initiate, 1 move, 1 shot into the scientist. And that's a miss. And then our second initiate, he's going to attempt the same thing. That is a hit. Blocks one of the damage and takes one damage. So top of round 3. More nothing for the event card. So our scientist is going to start off first here. He's going to try another roll in order to get away there. So he's passed his roll, so he can take a single move back. So they've either got to stop him now, or he's going to escape off the board in the next round. Evans is going to go first to the Brotherhood of Steel. He's going to take a single move up to get in range of the scientist. So, shot on the scientist. I'm going to have to roll to see whether he hits the scientist or the soldier. That's a hit for 4 damage. 1 and 3 scientist, 2 and 4 the knight, and he's hit the knight. So he's taken 3 damage. Up next, a soldier, going to take 2 shots into Evans. That's a miss. That's a crit. And he blocks it all. Our knight is going to take a couple of hits into the warrant officer. That's a hit. Blocks all the damage. That's also a hit. And the warrant officer takes 1 damage from that. Our warrant officer is going to return the favour. That's a hit. 3 damage and a stun. Blocks it all. That's a hit. 2 damage. Blocks 1. Our initiate's going to take a couple of long distance shots into the scientist. That is a hit. No damage there. And a miss. Our second soldier is going to take a couple of shots into Evans. First hit, that's 3 damage, takes 2. Second roll's a miss. Our second initiate's also going to take a couple of shots into the guy there. That's a miss. That is a hit for 3 damage. Blocks of 1, but the Enclave Scientist is down. So that's the end of the match.
This is Warrant Officer Oakley. Hayes is down. Repeat, Hayes is down. Evacuating the area.
Evans here. The specialist has been terminated and the Enclave force routed. We have the Securitron. Awaiting pickup.
What's so important about this Securitron anyway?
All I know is the scribes told us to secure this robot. It has information vital to the Enclave. Luckily, we have it now.
We sure showed them.
Ad Victoriam! Evans here. We've located the sentry bot. It's being protected by robots. Deploy down the road and move in. Evans out. Right. Let's head in. We have to secure that bot at all costs.
So hello and welcome back to another game of Fallout Wasteland Warfare by Medley. This is going to be played on a 3x3 board. The Brotherhood of Steel are going to start off on the left hand side there. The robots are going to be arrayed along the right hand side. The objective is to get to the sentry bot. It's going to be run over 5 rounds. The Brotherhood of Steel have to hack the sentry bot. The robots have to take out the Brotherhood of Steel. So let's get started with round 1. Because they're evenly matched, I'm going to randomly roll. 1 and 3 is going to be Brotherhood of Steel, 2 and 4 is going to be for the robots. So that's a 3, so the Brotherhood of Steel are going to kick off. So I'm going to start with Knight Evans. He's going to take 2 moves down the board. The first of our 2 Mr. Gutsies is going to take a single move, and then they're going to take a long distance shot into Evans. So that is a hit. And just to block one of it, though you can't see it, takes 1 damage. Our first initiate's also going to take 2 moves up the board. The second Gutsy is going to do the same as the first one. He's going to take a single move and he's going to take a shot into Evans. That's also hit with an armor break. He manages to block the one, takes 1 damage. Our second initiate is going to take a single move to there, and then he's going to take a long distance shot into the second Mr. Gutsy. That is a hit with an armor break. Doesn't block any of it, so takes 2 damage. First of our 2 Protectrons are going to take 2 moves down to in behind the bit of ruined road. Our third initiate is going to take a single move up, and then he's going to try a long distance shot across into that Protectron. That is a crit. The bottle cap means he's got an armor break. He takes 2 damage. The second of our Protectrons are going to take a single move up, and then he's going to try shooting across all the rubble into that initiate. So long distance shot, let's see how he does. And that's a miss. The Knight is going to take 2 moves straight forward, see if he can get in a bit better position so he can use his minigun next round. And to round off round 1, the Securitron is going to take 2 moves so he can get out into the open a bit more. So kick off round 2, let's have a look at the event card for this round. Lost supplies, I'm going to put a random supply token smack bang in the middle of the board, which is here, and we'll see if anybody can get to that before the end of the game. So control passes back over the robots. He's going to take a shot into Evans. First one, that's a hit. He takes 1 damage. Second shot's also a hit. And he manages to block all the damage. Evans is going to turn the favour by shooting back into the Securitron. That's a hit with an armour break. He takes 2 damage. And that's also a hit with a 2 armour break, so he's going to take, he doesn't block any of it, takes another 2 damage. The first of the Gutsies is going to take another move forward to get a bit more out in the open. And he's going to take a shot into Evans. Let's see, that's a hit. He manages to block all the damage. The first of the initiates is going to take 2 shots into the Gutsy in the middle there. And that's 2 misses. Our second Gutsy is also going to take a move up and take a shot. That is a miss. Initiate number 2 is going to take a shot long distance into that Gutsy there. That That's a hit with a quick action. And he takes 1 damage. That's also a hit. Doesn't block any of it, so he takes 2 damage for that. And then he's going to use his quick action just to move into the open a bit more. First of our Protectrons is going to take a move into the centre of the bridge. And then he's going to take a shot into the Initiate standing over in the open there. And that's a miss. The Initiate's going to take 2 moves up, so he can have a look at see what's in this supply cache. So we'll see if it's just an item or a danger or what it is. So that's just a straight up item, and he's got some tasty Yao Guai meat. The second Protectron's going to take 2 shots over into the night. First one's a miss. Second shot's a hit for 3 damage, and he blocks 1 of it. And finally, that knight is going to take a move up onto the top of the rubble. So the knight's going to use his minigun to shoot into the Protectron. First one's a miss. Second one's a hit, but I thought it was a miss, so I didn't roll armour. Third one's a hit for 2 damage, and he blocks it. Fourth one's a crit with an armour break, and he also blocks that. And fifth one's a miss. I think the moral of the story is, unless you're up against something squishy, leave that minigun at home. So round 3, control passes back to the Brotherhood of Steel. Event cards tumbleweeds, so I'm going to put up these 5 markers across the edge of the board, and they're going to slowly move over as the game progresses. So Evans up first. He's going to take 2 shots into the Securitron. So the first got 3 armor break, so he's just straight up going to take 3 damage from that. Doesn't explode. Second shot, that's also a hit. Manages to block 1 of it, but it's too little too late, so the Securitron is out for the count. First of the 2 Gutsies is going to shoot into Evans. That's a hit. He takes all 3 damage. That's also a hit. Only manages to block 1, takes 2 damage, and that's Evans down as well. Our first Initiate is going to shoot back into that Gutsy. So 2 shots into him. That's a hit. Doesn't block any of it, takes 2 damage, and for the second shot, that is a miss. Our second Gutsy is going to shoot into Initiate. That's a hit for 3 damage. He manages to block it. Second shot is also a hit with an armor break. And he takes 2 damage. Our second Initiate is going to take long distance shot into him. That is a miss. That's also a miss. The first Protectron is going to take 2 shots into the night. That's a miss. And that's also a miss. The knight's going to take a couple of moves up. I'm going to do a shorter move because he's crossing the rubble. He'll be able to do a full move with his next one, so that'll take him into base contact with the Protectron. The second Protectron is going to take 2 shots into the night. He's going to be -2 for close combat. First one's a miss. Second one's a hit. and he blocks it. And to finish off this round, the Initiate's going to take 2 moves to try and get closer to the sentry bot. So we're going to start round 4. I'm going to move the tumbleweeds up, and then we'll have a look at the event card. So that's low sun, all skill checks are -2. Don't think there's going to be many skill checks this round. So control passes back over, and Protectron's going to turn around and he's going to take 2 shots into the Initiate. And that's a miss. And the second one's also a miss. The Initiate, seeing he's in the clear because the Protectron's engaged, he'll be able to sneak around him and hopefully get in contact with the sentry bot. Yeah, he'll be able to move in there so he can do a hacking check next turn. The second Protectron's going to take a couple of hits into the night. That is a hit. And he blocks it. And the second shot is a miss. The Initiate's going to take 2 shots into the gutsy there. First one, that's a hit. The bottle caps mean he's also on fire. And he takes 1 damage. And the second shot's a miss. Gutsy's going to turn in favour, shoot back into the Initiate. That's a miss. That is a hit. Doesn't manage to block any of it, so that poor Initiate's down also. So our last Initiate there, he's going to take shots into the Gutsy. And that is 2 misses. The second Gutsy is going to take a move up so he can get into shooting range because he was just out of it. And that shot's a miss. And the Knight's going to take some shots into Protectron. So first one's a miss. Second one's also a miss. Third one, that's a hit. And he blocks it. Fourth shot's a miss. Fifth shot's a hit with an extra damage. And he blocks that as well. So 5th and final round. Let's see what the event card is for this. So all skill checks at +2, so that's going to come in handy for Initiate, who's going to start off this round by trying to hack that sentry bot. And he's done it on the first try. So that's game.
This is Initiate Alex reporting in. We have secured the sentry bot. Send Vertibird for pickup.
We read you. Vertibird en route now.
We have a new mission for you. The Gunners are expanding their operations in the area. We need you to take out their communications. The gate is fortified, but there is a gap in the fence which will probably be your best way in. We're sending you an iBot with charges and some new equipment. Good luck! Oh, and congratulations on the promotion, Paladin Evans!
Hello and welcome back to another game of Fallout Wasteland Warfare. Today we've got the recently promoted Paladin Evans. Him and his team are going to start at the bottom. They're going to face off against a group of gunners who are going to be in their camp at the top. The game's going to be played over 5 rounds as normal. The Brotherhood of Steel have to destroy the radar station, and the gunners have to wipe out the Brotherhood of Steel. So let's get started with round 1. So I'm going to start with the Brotherhood of Steel, as it's going to be a surprise attack. Our first initiate's going to take a single move, and then he's going to take a shot up against that guy behind the barrier there. So because he's in cover, it's going to be a -2, and that's a miss. The private's going to take 2 shots back against him, and that's also a couple of misses. Evans is going to take 1 move up the board. And then he's going to take a shot into the conscript in the open there. So that's a hit. He takes 3 damage, and his armoured pads are also broken. Conscript's going to turn the favour with 2 shots with his combat shotgun back into Evans. That's a miss. And that's also a miss. So our iBot's going to take a move up the board, and then he's also going to take a shot into the conscript. That is a hit for 3 damage. No armor roll for him, so he's down. The sergeant's going to take 2 shots down the board into Evans. That first one's a miss. The second one's a hit for 3 damage. Blocks 2, takes 1. Our Brotherhood of Steel Knight is going to take 2 moves up the board. And our other conscript's going to take, our other private's going to take 2 shots into the initiate. That's a miss. That's a hit. And he manages to block the damage. Our second initiate's going to take a move up to behind the barrier, and then he's going to take a shot into the second private, and that's a miss. Our Mr. Gutsy is going to take a move round the barriers into close combat, so that's a charge, he gets an extra dice. He takes 2 damage, and he manages to block it. Our third initiate's going to take 2 moves up the board. And to finish off a round, Commander's going to take 2 moves down. So top of round 2, let's have a look at the event card for this round. That's Great War Minefield, so everybody's going to have to test their luck till they move until somebody fails. So we're going to start off with the commander. He's going to take a move, which means he needs to test his luck. He fails it, but he manages to block the damage. So the commander's going to charge into the knight and do an attack with his Ripper. Okay, so that's a hit for 3 damage. Doesn't manage to block it, so his power armor is degraded. Knight's going to take 2 attacks back into the commander with his power fist. That's a hit with an additional damage. And he manages to block it. Second one's a hit for 3 damage. Doesn't block it, so his power armor is now degraded as well. The Gutsy's going to take 2 attacks into the knight. That's a hit for 3 damage. And he blocks it. And the second one's a miss. Does have a quick action, but he's not going to do anything. Our third initiate's going to try charging past them, so he's going to take 2 moves into this inside of the compound. As he's out in the open, the sergeant's going to take 2 shots into him. That's a hit with an armor break. He takes 2 damage. That's a hit. Blocks 1, takes 1. Evans is going to charge into combat with the commander. He's going to do a hit with his power fist. That's a hit for 3 damage. Doesn't block any of it. Our private's going to turn around and take a couple of shots into the initiate at long distance. So the first one, he actually blocks the damage. The second one, he takes it all, so the initiate's unfortunately down for the count. Our second initiate's going to take 2 shots into that private. That is a hit with a quick action. He takes the 2 damage. That is a crit. He blocks 1. And for his quick action, he's going to just move across the barrier out into the open. Our second private's going to take 2 shots into that initiate. That is a hit with a quick action. And he blocks the damage. That's a hit for initial damage with an armor break. Blocks 2, takes 1. And then for his quick action, he's going to take 1 move over to the opening. Our third initiate behind the barrier is going to take 2 shots into that private. That is a miss. The second one is a hit. Bottles mean he's also on fire. Doesn't block it, so unfortunately he's down. And final move of the round, the iBot's going to take 2 moves up. So control should pass back to the Brotherhood of Steel for round 3, but due to the commander's ability, it's going to stay with the gunners. Well, let's have a look at the event card first. Churn ground, so the first movement of everybody is going to be reduced down. So the commander's going to take 2 shots into Evans. That is a hit. Blocks the damage. That is also a hit. And he blocks 1, takes 1. Evans is going to hit back into the commander. That is a hit. The bottle means he's also stunned. Takes 1 damage. The second one's a crit. And he blocks 2 and takes 1. Gutsy's going to continue wailing on the knight. First one's a miss. Second one's a hit with an armor break. And he blocks the damage. The knight's going to return the favour back into the Gutsy with his power fist. That is a miss. That is a hit for 3 damage altogether. And the Gutsy manages to block it. Sergeant's going to take 2 shots into the eyebot. That is a crit with additional damage. So he actually takes the 3. That is a crit again. Doesn't block it. so the iBot's down. Our initiate's going to take 2 moves. So the first one there, and he's actually going to attempt to climb over that bit of the barrier. So we're actually going to roll to see if successful. He passes his agility test, so he manages to successfully climb over the barrier. Our private, see what's happening, is going to turn around and take 2 shots into that initiate. That is a miss. That one's a hit. And the initiate blocks it. And our second initiate's going to take a couple of moves up the board as well to try and join his friend at the top. So round 4, control will stick with the gunners. The event card for this is Eerie Mist. So anything that's not a melee attack will be a -2 for this round. So we're going to start again with the gunner commander. He's going to use his first move to clear the stun, and then he's going to do an attack into Evans. And that's a miss. Evans is going to attack back into the gunner commander. That is a hit with 4 damage altogether. Doesn't block much of it, so he's down for the count. And then for his second move, he's just going to move. Sergeant's going to take 2 shots down to Evans. There's a hit. The bottles mean 2 armor break, so he's going to take the 2 damage. And the second one is a crit. Blocks 1, takes 2. So our first initiate's going to take 2 moves, so he can get into the station, so he can hopefully set the bomb the next round. Our private's going to take 2 shots into the initiate. That's a miss. And that's also a miss. So our second initiate's going to try getting over that barrier, so he's going to roll his agility. He's failed that, so I'm just going to say that he's stumbled over, and he's going to use his second move to try and pick himself back up again. The Gutsy is going to carry on attacking the knight, so that's 2 attacks. And he blocks it. And he also manages to block that one. And the knight's going to take 2 attacks back into the Gutsy. And that's 2 misses. So, top of round 5, our event card for this round is Raider Radio 4. So, don't think any of the robots are going to do any movement. Sergeant's going to take 2 shots into Evans. That's a hit for 3 damage. Doesn't block it, so he is down. His second shot, he's going to do a long distance over into the second initiate. That is a crit, and he takes 2 damage. The initiate's going to take 2 shots over into the private. That's a hit for 3 damage. Doesn't block any of it. That is also a hit. Loads of damage there. So he's down for the count as well. Mr. Gutsy is going to attack the knight. That first one's a miss. Second one is a hit for 2 armor break. And he takes the 2 damage. The knight's going to attack back into Gutsy. That's a hit. And he takes 2 damage. That's also a hit. ball remains stunned. I don't know if robots can be stunned, but he takes 2 damage from that. And to finish off this round, the Initiate's going to set the charge, and then he's going to move away.
Target destroyed. Returning to base.
Hold there, Evans. We've had a distress call come through. Someone's being attacked by the Enclave. Vertibird en route to you now.
Copy.
This is Command. Your next mission. Rescue the stranger, secure the journal, eradicate the mutants. Find the location of the Enclave's next target. Good luck, Paladin Evans. Command out.
Well, I guess this is it.
What the hell are those things?
Only one way to find out. Let's go rescue that civilian.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. I've got a couple of ground rules I'm going to go over for the Suicider. First off, he's not going to activate until one of the Brotherhood of Steel members comes in perception range of him, and when he does, he's going to make a beeline straight for the survivor in the cage. So he's not going to engage anybody else, he's just going to try and get to the cage and explode. Okay, so let's get started with round 1. So essential 6 versus 6 to start with, so the Brotherhood of Steel are going to kick off with Evans. He's going to take a move, and then he's going to take a shot. That's a hit there with 2 armor break, so he does 3 damage. First of the 3 floaters is going to take a move, and then he's going to charge into Evans. The Knight's going to charge into that floater, and then he's going to do a single hit with his Power Fist. He's going to get 2 extra dice, 1 for the charge, and 1 because they outnumber the floater. And that didn't make a blind bit of difference, because that's a miss. The Flamer Floater is going to take 2 shots of this fireball. That first one's a miss. Let's see where it scatters to. That scatters down to the bottom. And for a second shot, that's also a miss. And that one scatters up to the top. First of our 3 initiates going to take 2 shots into the flamer. And that's 2 shots and 2 misses. The freezer floater is going to take a move, and then he's going to try shooting into that little group with his freezer breath. And that one's also a miss. The second of our 3 initiates is going to take 2 shots into the flamer as well. That's a crit. And he takes 2 damage off of that. That's also a crit, and he takes an additional 2 damage. First of our 2 mutants is going to take 2 moves. The third initiate's also going to take 2 shots into the flamer. So that first shot, flamer's down. And he's going to finish off with a single move. Our other super mutant is going to take 2 moves up the board. The eyebot's going to take 2 moves forward. And as he wants to protect anybody getting close to that survivor, the aviator's just going to stand there. So we're over to the top of round 2. Let's have a look at the event card. So we've got Lightning Strike, going to be choosing 2 random models at the end of the round, and that's going to stay in play until we actually roll that specific dice. So as they're essentially evenly matched, control's going to pass over to the mutants. So that first mutant is going to take 2 shots. That first shot's a miss. Second shot's a hit, and he does a single point of damage. Evans, because they outnumber, he can move out of combat without taking any damage from that, so he's going to take a single move. And then he's going to do a shot. That's a hit with 2 armor break, so he does 2 damage. That Nasher floater is going to continue biting down on the knight. That first one's a miss. That second bite's a hit, and he does 3 damage. And the knight blocks it all. The knight's going to hit back into the Nasher. That first one's a hit, and he does 1 damage. Second shot's a miss. The other mutant's going to take 2 shots into Evans. Because he is slightly obscured by the building edge, I'm going to say they're in cover, so that's going to be a 2 to hit. That's 2 misses there. He did get a quick action, so he's going to take a single move. Back to the initiates. That first one's going to take a single move. And then he's going to shoot into that mutant in front of him. That is a hit for extra damage there, so that's 4 damage altogether. Doesn't block any of it, so takes the 4 damage. He also had a quick action there, so he's going to move. The freezer floater is going to take 2 shots into the knight. That's a hit, and he takes the 2 damage. Second one's a miss with a quick action, so he's going to move on. Second of our 3 initiates is going to join his friend in targeting that mutant. That's a miss. Second shot's also a miss. Over to the aviator, he's going to stay in position again. going to finish out the round with the rest of the Brotherhood of Steel moves. Last of our initiates is going to take a single move, and then he's going to take a shot into the freezer floater. He takes the 3 damage. And that's the second of the floaters down to count. And then to finish off the round, the iBot's going to take a single move. And then he's going to take a shot into that mutant front of him. That is a hit. And the mutant blocks the damage. Now it's time to see if the lightning does any damage. I'm just going to run through the numbers. I'm going to roll 2d6 and let's see what numbers come up. Anything spare is just going to hit the ground. So the first one's going to be that super mutant there. And we've also got the iBot. Both in luck there, managing to block the damage, so let's start on round 3. That event card is going to stay in place, so I'm not going to pick another one until we deactivate it. So the mutants are now outnumbered, so they're going to kick off round 3. One of the super mutants is going to take a couple of shots into the initiate in front of them. That first one's a hit, does a bit of extra damage, that's 3 damage altogether. He blocks a single point of damage, so he takes 2. And his second shot there is a miss. The initiate's going to shoot back into the mutant. That is a hit for 4 damage. He takes it all. And then he's going to take a single move up the board. The Nasher floater is going to continue chewing down on that knight's armour. That's some extra damage there. The knight takes 2 damage, which also means that the Nasher gains back 2 health. And that second bite is a miss. The knight's going to continue using his power fist on Nasher. That first one's a miss. That second one's a hit with an armor break. He takes 2 damage. The other super mutant is going to shoot into the iBot. That First shot's a miss. Second one's a hit with 2 armor break. He takes 2 damage. Back to the Brotherhood of Steel, and that initiate's going to take 2 moves forward to try and get one of the objectives. And you'll hopefully be able to pick that up next round. The Aviator's in shooting range of that initiate that's just moved now. He's going to take 2 shots. That first one's a miss. Second shot's a hit for 3 damage and an armor break. And he takes 2. Down to the Brotherhood of Steel to finish off their moves. So the iBot is going to move and charge into the mutant. The initiate there is also going to move and charge into the mutant. And Evans is going to take 2 moves forward to try and get in range of the survivor in the cage. So once again, we'll end this round by looking at what damage the lightning is going to be doing. It's going to target that initiate. And then up next we've got one of the super mutants. He doesn't block any of the damage, so he takes the 2 and unfortunately he's taken out by the lightning. And he manages to block the damage. So we're going to kick off round 4. The Aviator is going to take 2 shots into Evans. That first one's a hit. And he takes the damage. Second one's also a hit with some additional damage. And Evans takes that as well. Evans is going to respond by taking a move forward and then a shot into the Aviator. That's a hit, and the Aviator takes the 2 damage. That Gnasher's going to continue chewing on the knight. That's a hit. He takes 1 damage, so the Gnasher takes 1 health back. Second bite's also a hit. And he does exactly the same thing. Knight's going to punch back. That is a crit. He does the damage, and he also stuns the Gnasher. His second punch is also a hit, and he's finally managed to take that Gnasher down. So we're going to have to roll because the Gnasher explodes. And he's taken out the Knight with the damage there. So a fitting end to that little grudge match. That mutant's going to try bonking the initiate on the head with his board. That's a hit. And he blocks it. And his second shot's a big old miss. The initiate's going to move around to try and get that objective. So yeah, that's the token I'm looking for. So they've got one of their 2 objectives. Now they've just got to try and rescue the survivor. Unfortunately for Evans Patrol, that's activated the Suicider, so he's going to come charging out of there and take 2 moves up the board. The last of our 3 initiates is going to take 2 moves up the board. Eyebot's going to finish off this round by taking a couple of shots into the mutant. And that first one's a hit. He managed to do a single damage. That second one's a hit with an armor break. And he takes 2 damage. Let's see what the lightning does for this round. They both impacted harmlessly on the ground, so this little lightning storm must be moving off into the distance. So let's kick off round 5. So just to keep the tension going a little bit longer, I am starting with the mutants, but I'm going to start with the aviator. He's going to take 2 shots into Evans. That first one's a miss. Second shot is a hit. And he manages to block the damage. Evans is going to have to see what kind of damage he can do to the Suicider. That first shot's a hit. Suicider takes the 2 damage. Let's roll to see what happens with his nuke. So that's a mushroom cloud, which means nuke go boom. So let's roll for the additional damage. I'm going to say the aviator's within range of that. Nuke itself does 4 base damage. That's an additional damage with an armor break. So that aviator takes all 5 damage. Evans has still got a shot, so he's going to shoot into that aviator. That is a hit for 3 damage, 2 armor break. Aviator can't respond to that, so he's down. So we're down to this 3-way tussle at the bottom. Super Mutant's up next. He's going to take 2 shots into the initiate. And that's 2 big old misses. The initiate's going to respond with his knife back into the mutant. He's also missed with both hits. So iBot's going to finish off round 5. That is a hit for 2 damage. And he takes 1 of them. Second shot's also hit with some additional damage and some armor break. He takes the 2 damage.
This is Paladin Evans. We've taken care of the mutant threat. Moving to secure the package. Let's get this cage open. See what he knows.
Thank you so much for rescuing me. This is a rescue, isn't it?
Yup, and you're welcome. What did they want with you anyway?
Well, I'm not really sure. It's quite mysterious.
Anyway, we were told you may have information on a location the Enclave have targeted.
Why, yes. Yes, I do.
Well?
It's a little place called the Last Stop Motel.
So thank you all very much for watching that Evans Supercut. Sorry it's not some new content, but I'm currently working all over the country, so don't really have enough time to record anything new. But I promise, normal service will be resumed in a few weeks. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.